Welcome back to Nerdrotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I'm live in San Francisco, California. We are covering the Orville Season 2, Episode 8, Identity Part 1. And, of course, Susan Layton joins me from 1428elm.com. Hello, Susan.
Hello, Gary. Hey, everybody in the chat. Tonight was just great, and I was so pissed that I have to wait for the conclusion next week.
I know. God. And would you ever feel this way about an episode of Star Trek Discovery? This is why I watched the Orville second, because I feel so much better now. What a great episode. That was more Star Trek than that show will ever be. And oh, man, thank God we have this show. Seriously.
Yes.
And it doesn't need all the flashy lens flares. The effects were good enough. I could see what's going on. They did a huge setup, and where's my paddle? Spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the episode, please go watch it and then watch us. Don't let me spoil it, please. But you have time. You have a second, because I'll give it. Wow. I mean, we got to see how the second part ends up, but damn, that was good. And
it even had Star Wars in it. Star Wars references, like, the Cloud City, the gurney, and even the music was very Star Wars like.
Yeah, and they also, there was a little bit of hint of flying through the nebula in Star Trek 2. I got a little echoey trumpets going on there, which was very, very cool. A little James Horner action going.
Oh, yeah.
So before we get started, I'm not a I told you so kind of guy, but I did call this. I called this when we had the Date with Claire episode, and she asked him, like, they made it pretty obvious. She asked, well, what happens when you get all the data and it all goes back? What happens then? And then she's all, you know what, don't answer that. And I said it in the recap and in my review. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if they were planning an attack?
Yeah.
There you go. So there we start out. They get Isaac is just talking to Claire and the kids, and they're still trying to get through to him emotionally, and he's just not there. But he's talking to the kids, and then he zaps out, and they don't know what happened. So they can't figure out his physiology because he's an android, and a sentient android, but an android nonetheless. So They are trying to get Kalon into the Union, and they see this as an opportunity. That's Ed calls the Admiral. The Admiral's like, all right, you're on your own, though. You're in deep space if you go out there, but this could be a good a chance to knock on the door and get through, because we really haven't heard from him. So they use this opportunity. Plus, they want to fix Isaac. The kids are worried about him. Everybody's worried about him. So they go there, and we get to Kalon, and the effects were brilliant. I loved them. I don't need flashy lens flares, and I can't see half the crap that goes on in Star Trek Discovery anyway. I know I sound like an old man right there, because I am. Yes. And they get down to Kalon, and all of a sudden, all the other ones besides Isaac, all the other Kalons have red eyes. So all of a sudden, we know something's up right there. We're like, hey, wait a minute. So they they basically say that Isaac was deactivated. His job was done. That's what we do. And they asked to reconsider. So they do, and they turn Isaac back on, and Isaac's just like, decides to stay on Kalon, which upsets Claire, upsets the kids. But Isaac, of course, is unfeeling and emotional. In the meantime, the Kalons, Ed asks if they consider being in the Union, and they said they'll give an answer, but they don't give it right away, which is interesting. So, of course, there's a great little scene where they convince Isaac that there's a discharge protocol, even though he knows all the rules on the Orville. So they talk him back on, and they throw him a little going away party. And who thought that Gordon would have a good singing voice? But he does.
He does. Right. He blew me away. I wasn't expecting it.
Hey, he's engaged to Kelly.
Green Pilecki, yes.
Yeah. Comedians, man. Comedians. I don't understand that they're batshit crazy. And comedians. So making somebody laugh It's the most important thing. It really is. So they have a cute little going away party for Isaac. And again, we have some baked goods that I want in the Orville. First, we had the Orville cookies last week, and then we had the Orville cake.
I love that cake.
With little cookie eyes. I think that maybe maybe not little frosting eyes. I definitely would have wanted a corner piece too, like Bortus wanted. And he gives, so they ask Isaac to give a speech, and he doesn't know how to give one, but they said, yeah, go into your database, and he does the Sally Field speech from the Oscars, which is hilarious. And when you hear him recite it like that, how pathetic was that speech? I'm sorry, Sally Field, but wanting the respect so much, and you really like me. That might have been cool back in the day in Hollywood. I'm not sure how cool that is today.
No.
It just sounds sad. But I like Sally Field. Okay, so they have a nice little going away party. Gordon sings a song. Everything's fine. But then a couple things happen. I'm forgetting the little kid's name. The littlest kid gets upset because he drew a picture for Isaac, and Isaac had just dropped it on the floor and forgot about it. And the kid found it, got upset, went into the holodeck or whatever they call it, and we climbed a tree, and Claire went and talked to him, and he was supposed to be in school, and she says, all right, well, sorry that happened, but you got to get back to school. You can hang here for a little while. So she leaves, he takes off and runs out of the ship. They're docked on Kalon, and he runs out there to go find Isaac. And he sees a couple of the Kalons coming. I don't know if they were coming after him or not. So he goes to hide, and he ends up going down. And this is where what you were talking about, very Empire Strikes Back. He goes, it's like in Cloud City in Bespin, and he goes down this tunnel. Of course, Claire finds out he's gone. They get Bortus, they get Tyala, and they go down there, and they find billions of dead bodies of skeletons, skulls, just everywhere. And apparently they lost count. What did they say? Over a billion.
Yeah.
So they make it back to the ship, and Ed confronts the Kalon Prime, and it's really Isaac who tells them that they're basically Cylons. So we got a little Battlestar Galactica. They are, and I was Borg. And the Borg. There was definitely so. So basically, what they spent a season and a half doing is setting up a Borg / Cylon character on their ship for this payoff. That's good writing. That's sticking with your story. That's great characterization. So we find out they had a battle, and the two species couldn't coexist. So they exterminated all the humans. There's no going back from this one.
No.
And Isaac is like, yeah, we had to do it. We took no pleasure in it, but they take no pleasure in anything. So they had to do it. And wow, that was cold blooded. So of course they, before that, they had noticed some sphere objects that had an immense amount of power in them. And maybe it was the planetary defense system. They weren't really sure, but they started popping up out of nowhere. And then Ed noticed that they were stalling with their answer, and they're machines. So it's a very binary answer. They even mention it like, do you want to join the Union? Yes or no? What's going on? Well, we found out they took over the Orville. They had a firefight. Some people died. Some members of the crew died, and these guns come out of their head, and they took over the Orville, and they are going to go attack Earth. And that's where it ends. And yeah, they're done. Now, the one thing I did notice towards the very end, Isaac went to as the Kalons took over the Orville to decrypt all the security protocols, probably for the Union and the ship. Isaac went to his station real quick. So my guess is that he went to go start fixing the problem. Like Isaac really hasn't turned. Notice his eyes are still blue. I think that's of course a hint, I think. So what did you think overall, Susan, before we get to the chat?
You know what? I loved this episode. And like you said, Gary, it really brought home a lot of the old Star Trek feeling with the landing parties and, somebody going rogue. In this case, it was Ty going where they shouldn't go. And, all this thing ensues. But what I like the most about it is not only does it have Star Trek, but it wrapped all these great science fiction conventions into it. Like a lot of people in the chat were saying the Cybermen, the Daleks. I mean, it was basically all of those components, all of the good components of science fiction. And then what I love the most is the way they set up this potential conflict. Now, I personally agree with you. I don't think Isaac is going to turn. I think he's going to be the voice of reason, so to speak, and perhaps even the hero, but we'll find out. But this is how writing should be done. This is clearly a writer's room that knows what they're doing, that has a plan, that isn't going to canon camp. And I guess people would say, well, that's because it's its own thing. True, they're still establishing their canon, but nonetheless, they're in the writer's room. They're taking it from points A to B to C. And that's how you do good writing, with overarching themes and everything. So this was an excellent penultimate episode.
Yep. And what they, it's simple. They put story first. Story first. Oh my God, my next Doctor Who video is about not putting story first. It's probably the 20th in a row, but we need to get rid of these people. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Jolts and Burrow. And again, we have an episode STD could not pull off because the characters are so poorly done. No one cares about them. We cared about Isaac. So this had real impact. Good writing, earlier payoffs now. Exactly, Joel. Thank you for the $10. Very generous. Exactly. It's like, just the bad writers, they're not overthinking it. They aren't thinking enough.
Right.
They sometimes when you're in Hollywood and you're successful, the word no doesn't enter your vocabulary very much unless it's from an executive, but generally from the people around you, even your fellow writers, they're not going to tell you the truth because everybody's trying to save their job. And the culture, the general culture in Hollywood is cutthroat, backstab. It's a little out of date. And yes, it's starring the vile Kevin Spacey, but Swimming with Sharks, highly recommend it. If there's any movie that captures the tone of Hollywood, that's it. Young Mac, $5. Fantastic episode tonight. RIP Red Shirts, right? And Bortus not getting his corner cake. What the hell? But we're going to see what this was a perfect episode. And I would say if, it's only in season 2, but this is where the Orville arrived right now, right here. I know it arrived for a lot of people earlier, but this was the absolute perfect blend of drama, action, thrills, and comedy. It was done to perfection. This show knows what it is. And before I leave you tonight, I'm going to throw up Rotten Tomatoes one more time, season 1. So you all remember all the critics who gave it a rotten. So let's get to the chat because I am excited about this. All right. And again, thank you for the super chats. They are not necessary. Make sure to hit neurotic if you want to get our attention or at Susan. How long was the ladder and he climbed down? Several miles. No, it looked like they said it was 43 feet down. I believe they said Hillock, they said 43 feet below the surface. They say 43 miles. I can't remember.
Neither can I.
He didn't go down a 43-mile ladder.
No.
Yes, Cybermen and Daleks. And yes, I am a Doctor Who fan, and I have to give props that the Cybermen, out of all the franchises we just spoke of, Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who did it first. So yes. Oh, right. I thought at first they had all off themselves to become robots. That's what I thought too.
Yeah,
Cal Winters.
Me too.
That's exactly what I thought, is they just shed their bodies, but they put their consciousness into, which it still could, that still could end that way. If you listen to the wording, they had to exterminate. They could still do it. And I suspect that might be an out for this. Well done, Cal. Very well done. Because I was thinking that too. Exterminate, resistance is futile. It is.
Yeah.
The Kalons are like the Cylons in the original Battlestar Galactica, as the Cylons in that series exterminated the species that created them, and they went after the humans. Exactly, John Smith. Exactly. Remember Lucifer? Remember anybody remember Lucifer from Battlestar Galactica? I
Oh
still
my
have that
God.
action
Yeah,
figure. More like Daleks. They want to exterminate everything that is not Kalon. I think it's a little mix of all. The Daleks wouldn't have even bothered with the whole theater of going to send an emissary to get information. They're not that kind or cunning, because they don't need to be, because they're that powerful. I mean, Moffat era kind of did that with the human Daleks, that was the one idea that I loved, with the little stalk coming out of the head. That was creepy and well done. Yeah. Planet Acne, maybe. Coexistence is impossible. Resistance is futile. The Kalons versus the Daleks would be fun. Monster Hunter Rune, it would be fun. Seth is keeping the curse of the red shirts alive. Right. Thank you, Joseph. He's not killing mansplainers. Your super chat did not disappear, Joel. I got it. Thanks. I appreciate it. Isaac is still our singing in the rain. He is, Susan.
He is very
We're not
much
going to
so.
lose Isaac. Oh my God.
I hope not. I hope not. I don't think we will. He's too integral to everything. And he, despite the fact that he's very unemotional, you still can't help but like him. He's very likable.
Well, there's a trick to that character. You know what that trick is? With Isaac, it's not unlike having a mute character like Hodor from Game of Thrones, or Chewbacca, or any character you can't understand their language, or this way. With Isaac, it's emotions. We project a little bit of ourselves. We're trying to fill the blanks with that character, and that's why we're with Data. There was always an endearment for Data. It's a little trick of writing, but it works every time. That's Stephen Klein. Thank you. I didn't see Yaphet either. And we need to keep Yaphet in mind. And the funny thing is, Norm Macdonald was mentioned in the credits, and I didn't see Yaphet. So I wonder if it was a cut scene or one they left for part 2, because Yaphet would really come in handy in a time like this. A little ball of splooge.
Part 2.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
No way Isaac betrays them. He's totally planning to sabotage this genocide. Yep. I agree. What's up, Tarka Jedi? How are you? He says, you are so right, Susan Layton. Mary Ashmead, they need to have Isaac here behind Blue Eyes. Oh, that's good. Joker 79, one of my favorite all-time songs.
And the whole love interest with him and Finn is very touching. I mean, even though he can't feel the way that she wants him to, the way he looks at her, and I know he doesn't have a face, but just the guy that's inside him, and his name's escaping me, is
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson, right? Very much like Doug Jones. You can hide them, but they're so expressive that you get emotion off of them no matter what they're in.
No, this episode's going to propel the Orville to listen, it's getting to season 3.
It is. I felt that. I feel it.
It's getting to season 3. So I'm not worried about this show at all. And all I want now is Orville action figures in a ship. I want. Oh my God!
Ship. Yes.
We're getting Orville. Oh, Orville. We're getting Orville. Orville hero clicks. It's not really an action figure. It's kind of a game thing. But Tamarocks.
Whoa.
Tamarocks. That's a lot of money. Tamarocks. Thank you so much, sir. This was an amazing episode. I really hope to get 5 more seasons of this show, and maybe a spin-off. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
that would be killer. Oh, we could have a whole universe of this. Oh my God, we can. You know what? Star Trek can take a break for a little while. We got the Orville, and they can work their crap out and come back later, and we'll have 10 seasons of the Orville, a couple of spin-offs, some action figures, maybe a game. Thank you, Tamrox, $50.
That's amazing. Thank you, Tamrox.
Jared Lores, $2. Penny Johnson Gerald is now dated 2 emissaries.
Wait a minute.
Has she?
Has she? Wait. On the Orville?
Or are you talking about a different show? I'm brain
Yeah.
farting right now. She she was in oh God. Why my brain? It's from Star Trek. So yes, that's funny. She has. Very good.
Oh, wow.
Karen.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. Mr. Roboto, $2 to sacrificed red shirts 2D space deity for success. Oh man. That made me think of the 2D space. That was a great episode. I love the little backgrounds they did on that one. I love that episode so much. Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. You guys are brilliant. That's why I talk to the chat. Best co-hosts around. Oh,
They are.
Oh, damn it, YouTube. I've been sat here waiting for you to start and got the damn notification. It didn't even go on Twitter for once in a blue moon. I didn't know you were here. I'm here. I did post a tweet. I'm surprised you got the notification because lately we haven't. And just a quick plug here, guys, which I usually don't do, but it looks like another adpocalypse is looming. It landed today. If you want to know about it, check out the quartering. He did a pretty good video on it. It's very unfortunate. Again, some very few are screwing it up for everybody, and there's an overreaction. I mean, something very bad did happen. So what we're going to have to do, and I will do this. I got to do a little extra work. It's no problem, but I have to watch my comments like a hawk now because they're going to start demonetizing for comments. So now people can weaponize that now. So I'm going to save that for Friday. We'll talk about it Friday. Let's back to the Orville, but I just wanted to give a little shout out there to our Patreon. For as little as $1 a day, you can get exclusive content. There, I'm done. What were the Kalons waiting for or postponing? They wait to take over the Orville. Loquacious Primate, yes. They were probably waiting for because they said their Borg spheres weren't quite ready yet. I think they were popping up. So they used this as an opportunity to attack. I don't think they were planning on it the whole time, but since they were waiting for a Union ship, because I guess they couldn't hack the security codes from Kalon.
Right.
So they needed a ship to do that, and this was their opportunity. But Budgie Blue, you are correct. And I want you to correct me every time I say Star Trek Discovery is Star Trek, because it's not. It's the title. It's a brand being licensed.
It's Star Trek.
Sycophants around them. Oh yeah, I'm a little behind in the chat. Yep. The creatives have it. Well, Hollywood's that's the culture. That's unfortunately the culture. If you're not a complete dishonest kiss butt, you're not going anywhere in that town. And that's why I realized I was not going anywhere in that town, because I wasn't going to play that shit.
No. And if you don't play that shit, you won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Thomas Blum says he hopes that Alex Kurtzman watched tonight because this is how you do a sleeper cell story.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
You let it play out, and then you soften us up with the dating stuff. Seth, I know you're watching, Seth. You freaking rock, dude.
I love you, Seth. He does rock.
I love you too, Seth. Call me. Okay. Mr. Roboto, you think a Batman store would work long term? That's an interesting question. A Batman only retail store. Yes. But it would have to be in some place like Tokyo or New York or Las Vegas. But it still wouldn't work long term. It'll work about 5 to 7 years. Hey, I answer all questions, especially if it's a super chat. I played with that idea of being a specific Marvel only store at one time when Marvel was good, because DC pissed me off. But now I would do it the other way around. If STD called itself Burnham Space Adventure and stopped masquerading as Star Trek, I could respect it as an independent show. I would call it an independent show. Ariel Coffin says, I love Seth too. We all love Seth.
We do.
And Monster Hunter Rune says, hi, Seth MacFarlane. Hey, you never know. You never know who's watching. You never know.
Wait a minute. Could this be Seth here? Fat Gandalf? You're not Seth's type. There are enough cast members who are.
Well, I'm way too old and male, that's for sure. Yes. Yeah, way too old. Gary gonna cameo on the Orville. Now, I think they probably asked JP first. Yeah.
Wow, Not of the Shadow says Tim Russ said his episode of the Orville should be February 28th. Will he be a human admiral or one of the Kalons?
Nyla Shadow. Good question. What is the Matrix says? I don't love you, Seth. But I like you as a friend. No, I just added that. I don't want to speak for you. An incredible episode tonight. I can't wait for part 2. Can we have a renewal announcement, please?
It should be coming, I think. Sometimes they wait till like March, mid-March. So hopefully we might hear something.
They have definitely earned it with this episode, says Small Yoda 3. I'm gonna make sure I hit all the okay, we'll get to the how would you have Michael Burnham handled the Kalons? Well, she would have reversed the polarity to the quantum tachyon field, and then she would have pointed the energy beam to create sound waves in space to deactivate them with a magnetic pulse. And then she would pinky swear and then go back to Vulcan and teach everybody how to be a Vulcan.
No, that was too complicated, Gary. We need to simplify.
Okay.
Science and friendship would solve everything.
# tears, science and friendship, everybody. Orville merch. Yes, please. Yeah. Take my money, Seth. Take my money. Seth, I know you're watching. Take my money. But as I was saying, you never know who's watching. We have had creatives watch before. So like, I don't know if it's big stars, but we definitely got one of the stars from Happy was watching our recaps.
Wow.
When she came on the show.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Seth hasn't jumped on the merch bandwagon, because he did for Family Guy.
You have to wait a couple. See, I think if they get a renewal for season 3, here's my prediction. Yes, you will get one. Even Doctor Who, the newer season, waited a couple seasons. You got to wait. Game of Thrones, I'm still waiting, to be honest with you. Waited 4 seasons. It takes a while to get those licensing agreements, and it's kind of expensive to produce that stuff too. But see, I want expensive stuff. I want like a 1/6 scale, Hot Toys crew of the Orville. So.
Oh yes, please.
Nintendo Land at Universal Studios, Gladys Lors. Yes, I go to Universal Studios once a year, so I would definitely go for sure. Yes, Gladys, I would go. I love Universal Studios, especially at Halloween. She blinded me with science. Yes, indeed. I'm telling you, Yaphet is going to leave the whole ship. I'm telling you, Yaphet is going to save the whole ship in part 2. Robert Smith, I'm kind of with you on that one. I am. Then she would jump away using stupid mushroom drive. Yes, Small Yoda 3. And then, then I'd want to take mushrooms, even though I'm sober, just to forget the experience. This episode sort of had a Voyager Dark Frontier vibe to it. CBS Spock. Oh, that's a good name. Yes. I 100% agree with you. There is 1/6 scale Game of Thrones figures, Tick 'em on Blade, and I have them all, and they're going to be doing a 1/6 scale dragon.
Really? Finally?
Yes. $1,500.
Oh, well, you can.
Don't tell
anybody can afford that.
I need Orville merch. Everybody say, Seth, everybody wants Orville merch. Tell him he's on Twitter.
Do. Can I please do? I'll add him tonight and say, can you make a figure of yourself, maybe?
Yeah. But Gary, Seth has all that Disney merch now. It'd be easy to start making merch. You're right. He does. And he's going to get a raise. Hey, Disney, Seth deserves a raise after this episode. Why don't you take some of that Captain Marvel money and shift it over to Seth?
Yep. It would behoove them to do so.
Gladys has a good point about STD. What the hell is going on with Starfleet being cool with the Prime Directive being used as toilet paper in this episode? Because they use Starfleet as toilet paper. My tweet tonight about Star Trek was STD is not trending again. # where is Starfleet? Gordon action figure with with singing action. That's what he needs. Fat
Oh,
Gandalf.
nice. And cargo shorts.
Take Jesse Smollett money.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we need an Ensign Turco action figure. The Kalon reprogram, the dance Mr. Roboto would rock. That would be cool. Well, yeah. What if they use Bortus's porn virus to take out the Kalons?
That would be ironic.
How great of a callback is just Bortus? Dude, I would totally do that. Oh, that'd be great. Brian Smart, $5. Gordon can sing. STD, take note on how you create dramatic tension. Effing amazing episode. It was. It really was. Tyler X, 2F0. Thank you, Brian. Good to see you, buddy. Tyler X, 2F01. Got a third-party hug, the Donkey and Arbor Day shirt. All right. Hugging the donkey. Yes. Oh, yeah. Is that like twisting the muse? Mr. Roboto, $2. Will Delancey Q be on the show? I don't know. They're
interesting.
That would be interesting. That'd be great. Artemis, thank you very much, Mr. Roboto. It's good to see you. Artemis over easy 1999. What is up, my friend? So are there any chairs on this planet? I know. Great line. Great shows have great writing, and this show keeps seating itself every week. It seems it does. Now I straight up going to eat crow on this one. In my Orville Rotten Tomatoes video, I said that season 2 wasn't as good as season 1. Well, I should have waited for the season to end to actually say that, because now I'm going to say season 2 is better than season 1. It is. So there you go. There you go. Okay, I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. I got a video to finish, and then I am going to be doing an Orville breakdown video. It will come out, and I can't wait to do that. I might do that one first. I don't know. Friday or Saturday it's coming out. Most likely Saturday. So plot hole, Occupy Wallets. Oh, I'm sure there's plot holes in this show, but it doesn't matter. There's plot holes in every show. But at least there wasn't sound in space again. Did the Kalon get Marcus and Ty? I'm assuming so, but they didn't show it. Kyle McLeod. There can be only one. $2. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know, DJ Bowman. It is too short whenever we talk about the Orville.
It is, but I got to keep these things to a half an hour.
Yeah.
It's the analytics, man. Talk to the analytics. Plot holes are the best holes. Well, not too sure about that one as Matrix, but yeah, maybe they're the second best. Okay. Didn't the Kalons already know where Earth was located? I think they did. Did they have no ships of their own? Loquacious Primate. They needed the ship for the codes, the security codes. They knew where it was, but they couldn't attack. They couldn't attack the entire Union. They're patient. So you look at it like machines. They probably could have wiped out the Union on their own, but it would be way more efficient and save all of whatever technology you would need, maybe, and save the resources of the planet by just infiltrating them with the least amount of damage. And that way, if you need anything from Earth, you're not obliterating everything. It's more efficient. That's the way I see it. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Hit that like button. Kicker Rogers. 300 species versus the Kalon. Yeah, it would still be a tough fight for him. So it's better to infiltrate and get their security codes, in my opinion. If Isaac saves them, he will say it was for his brother Michael who told him to burn them, the Kalons, and then he will get a big chuckle at that poke at STD. There will be a poke at STD. That would be funny as hell. Oh my God. I would drive down to LA to high fives. K9 will save them. That's right, Monster Hunter. K9. All right, everybody. Sorry these are short, but hey, join us tomorrow. Let's talk about the Orville on Friday night. I will talk about it for an hour. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Plug your wares, Susan.
Sure. You guys can find me on Twitter at Susan on the Ledge. You can read a lot of different things on my website at 1428 Elm. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram at De Facto Scribe. I actually put up on my Facebook page a clip, or rather a promo teaser of the documentary that I will be in for Joe Lansdale called Hey, All Hail the Popcorn King. So that's what I have going on.
Excellent. Please go to nerdrotic.com for our live stream schedule. Please check out our Patreon for as little as $1 a day. You get a couple extra neuters and some extra reviews and stuff. So we're changing our tiers a little bit. Now, there will be an opportunity for you to actually get on the show. That is one of the tiers that we're going to be changing here in March. So thank you, everybody. Watch the Orville, one of the best damn shows on TV. And I can't wait for next week. And we will be live next week right after it airs. Next week, the Orville takes priority over Star Trek Discovery. We're going to do the Orville first. Okay. So because I want to see this episode. So next week, Orville first. Everybody have a great night, and may the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Say goodnight, Susan.
Good night, everybody.